Thank you very much, Suraj and Jadu, for giving us the opportunity to talk about smart cities here with you today. So I'm here to talk to you about our smart cities work. So we have smart cities up here in our presentation, but in actual fact, our smart content and our work with Jadu specifically is not just about cities, it's also about communities and places. So don't get taken by the word cities. The smart content and the smart opportunity that we're about to talk to you with really reflects on your place and your community, about how you can be more intelligent with your customers as we go through, and how we as two organizations together can actually help you achieve some of that. So the first thing we need to understand is, what is a smart city or a smart place? So while we've been working with our customers, and both in the UK and around the globe, we discovered some core concepts about what is a smart city. Now, what we found is most important over all of those concepts is you as the customer and the public interacting with each other. So something we refer to as customer engagement. So being able to talk to each other on a dialogue principle about what you're doing, how you're doing it, how you need to do it, and how you can learn from the public to improve your customer engagement process, but also embedding into your service underneath. So this diagram effectively shows you, as you go around from your right to left, a smart city needs to have a personality and an interaction with you through technology. So you need to be, for a city to be able to be smart, you need to be able to interact with it. You need to understand what's going on, what's available to you. It needs to tell you that. But it also needs to learn from you about where you are, what you desire, and what's happening in your location or within your community or surroundings. A smart city can't be a smart city unless we know all of those things and we bring those together and make that data available. To be able to do some of that, we need to understand the core business processes within local authorities, particularly to drive that information out to the individuals. So being able to keep the lights on, the street lights on, being able to understand how my operational management works, to communicate that, to ensure safety on the streets through the operational context and through the public context, but also to be able to prove economic viability and improve efficiencies for you through those principles. You want to be able to use smart content not only to increase public satisfaction, but also look at how you can increase your administrative benefits, but also your revenue generation opportunities. How can you guide and grow tourism? How can you ensure I, as a tourist or a visitor to your community, can have their awareness increase of what's available to them? One thing that we've noticed, it's quite contentious, but I'm going to say it anyway. I've worked 26 years in local government with Pitney as an organisation. One thing local government are really bad at is telling everybody how good they are at doing things. And they're phenomenally good under the hood at doing things, but they don't advertise it very well. And actually what you find is, as an individual, as a member of the public that lives in a London borough, my London borough doesn't tell me things like that. And if they do, and they tell me how good things are and the things I can do and achieve, the opportunities for me to interact with them and for me to actually use facilities that I'm not actually aware of, my interaction with the authority grows, the satisfaction with the authority grows, and their revenue generation opportunity with me grows as well. So really important to be able to communicate that. So we summarized all that down into 2 levels. So in the UK right now, we're pretty much at Smart City version 1, maybe just pushing the boundaries. Smart City version 1 is the ability to be able to connect an asset, a piece of infrastructure out on the street, with a piece of software. So very simply put, being able to understand that a street light is on, enabling people to report that a street light is not on, and be able to communicate back to them that I fixed it. That's effectively Smart City version 1. Smart City version 2 is making that more interactive and driving intelligent decisions about the data I receive from my infrastructure through the organisation. So understanding not only that the lights are on, but when they should be on, when they should be dimmed, how I can perhaps use location, people's mobile phone signals to understand when people are close to the lighting, so I can take them from a dim state to a bright state, how I can understand how there's an individual or a group of people perhaps approaching the frontal area of a building and then light up the front of that building effectively on demand. So I'm achieving the age-old conversation in streetlights there. How do I save the most amount of money with street lighting by not using the most amount of energy, but at the same time make sure there's an appropriate level of lighting for safety, etc., when people need it. And I can use IoT, and I can use smart content, and I can use customer engagement to help me achieve that. So when we started to talk about that interactive community engagement, using data to understand how to use infrastructure to communicate with people, we came out with a series of client goals. The one in pink is quite key, so keep your eye on all the pink colours as we move through the presentation. And that is all about citizen engagement. Now, a lot of things underneath we also need to manage. How we manage infrastructure, how do we manage our budgets, how do we manage strategy, how do we attract new business into our community? But one key to all of that is the citizen engagement piece, and it's a common thread throughout. There are lots more smart city concepts that people want to answer when they talk about citizen engagement, such as replacing obsolete infrastructure. How can I fix potholes quicker? How can I put new facades on buildings? How can I make the lighting more appropriate? They want to answer these questions, but we need to engage with our public to do that. Some of the most successful London boroughs have projects around here where they've worked with the community to actually build and apply operational context. There's a park in Southwark that was lit with the community. The lighting engineers went to the community and said, what would you like to see? You tell me how you want it, I'll do the technical bit of fixing it. Now, the result of that engagement was they love it. They love the park, they use the park, the kids use the park, they look after it really well because they feel it's theirs. And it's a really huge piece of a success story in that respect. So we came up with a Smart City Matrix. We know you all love a matrix. So this is our Smart City Matrix. So basically the purple and pink refers to customer engagement. The pink refers to customer engagement and the purple refers to asset management. So asset management is the Pitney Bowes side. Okay, so it's where we're really strong. So we have a marketing leader, Product Confirm, which we can talk to you about outside, which manages over 52% of local government UK infrastructure and over 65% of Highways England infrastructure. That's growing. That's going to grow even more by the end of the year. But the really key point is the pink bit, is the customer engagement piece, which is the Jadu side of the equation. And for us to integrate with Jadu and have that integration and be able to facilitate our operational and infrastructure management perspective through a customer engagement principle allows us to talk to our customers about this smart city matrix. So here we see a series of city services. Each of those have a current measure of where they are on the smart city scale, between 0 and the maximum, which is 2. Some of those might want to stay like that. So we look right in the middle there where we've got our waste services. We've got a really low level of asset management. So I know where my bins are. I know how I'm delivering through a contract with a contractor, and that's probably enough for me at that level. But I've got a really high level of in-customer engagement because I use a solution provider like Jadu, for example, to communicate to my public when bin collections happen, how they change at Christmas and other holidays, and how I might order more bin collections. Am I even aware that I can order an additional bin collection at a cheap price from my local authority? It's a revenue generation opportunity. It's a service for me that perhaps I wasn't aware of. So you can see there in the waste area, they've got that really good engagement with their customers. If we look at the very left-hand side, for street lighting, it's very much lower. So they've got a higher level of managing an asset because there's a code of practice for streetlights, which we must adhere to. That asset management piece is quite high. So we're managing them very well. We understand we can't have people being electrocuted by touching a street light. We need to light the streets well to avoid risk and to avoid crime. And we need to be able to manage those very well, but we're not really engaging very well with our customers, okay? They're just there, they're lit, they do things, they light things, that's it, the end. We're not talking to them. So we may have an aspiration, and that aspiration is to increase either or both of those levels. So this is what we're now talking about our customers. How do we then take a relatively dumb street light and turn that into the kind of smart street light that I talked about previously? And that is moving that street light, which is effectively on or off, and it's only ever off if it's broken, to a level of intelligence where it's brightest when I need it most, and it's dimmest when I don't need it at all. And it's doing that on an intelligent basis, okay? And it's also doing that on an automated basis, having understood footfall traffic, network traffic, movement around the area, and desire and need from any public or private organisation that is working in that particular area. So when we look at our Smart City Solutions content as a whole, we look at it in this series of blobs. So the pink bit right down the middle is Jadu. Okay? The purple bit on the left-hand side is Pitney Bowes. So again, we're really strong in the asset management side. We rely on the customer interactivity through integrations with Jadu to then talk onward about city administration, strategic planning, using customer-led data, customer engagement, and an understanding of how our customers want to work with that. In the middle of that, the blue circle is all about data. So Suraj mentioned data earlier on, understanding the data, taking data from different data sources, whether they're internal or external, understanding how people use our facilities, where they are, what they do, how they want to use our facilities, and also embellishing that data with third-party content to achieve those things. That's quite a big subject. I'll move quickly away from that, but we can certainly talk about that outside if there's something you're interested in. So we then break that down to 3 things, and they are people, places, and things. Again, Jadu is the people side. We are the places and things side. So we have a really strong location analytics core, understanding where things are, the data around where things are, being able to analyze movement, context, and things occurring around the asset management side, which is the things part. So who's doing what, where, and when, and how? How can we manage that? How can we manage that on a principle that's most convenient for our public? But also, how can we manage that in a proactive context which understands what you want to do and reacts to that to make it more convenient for you, so that you're able to work in and visit a city, and it's reacting around you to make your visit as convenient as it possibly can be. I'm going to give you a couple of examples how we can achieve some of those things. There we go. So very, very simply, this is very, very simple stuff at this point. So first of all, we might have a web portal. So we might be working with Jadu at this point to understand that people can put incoming content into a local authority platform. So here's a very simple case of somebody reporting that there's a pothole on the street. Very simple stuff. Now, with the location technology and with our infrastructure management in the background, what we're then seeing is that an automated process and connectivity between Jadu and us is delivering that information back to the operational management system. So we understand where it is, we understand which asset it is, and we understand then through our own systems how then to fix that particular problem. We take that through our own software, we send people out to do the job, it's being received in cab, the cabs go out, they fix the pothole, they mark it as repaired, and ultimately the message comes back to the member of the public through whatever portal they use, so mobile, web, etc., that's actually being done. So although I made that seconds long, that process literally could be a few minutes long in real time. So I could report a pothole, somebody could be diverted, go and fix it, report back to me, and I receive a message on my phone literally within minutes. So that's kind of stuff's happening now already in many, many authorities. So we've got lots of joint authorities that we're working with. Some are here, so Medway, Lincolnshire, Newham, and Hounslow as well, Hounslow Highways. So we're working together on some of these things already. If we move that on very slightly and make that slightly more complex, we now think about buildings, we can start be a bit more proactive. So in the first example, I've just received a message. It sounds quite simple. I've reported a pothole, someone's told me it's fixed. The underlying business process was automated, which is an efficiency. In this particular example, as we look at this particular building, what I'm finding is the lift that's gone all the way up to the 14th floor is stuck. Now that's a problem for many, many people. But what's really important is we can use context and location data to make sure the people that's relevant to, so not everybody, but the relevant people, to understand that lift is now broken. So if I'm on the 14th floor, or if I want to be on the 14th floor, I would like to know not to take lift number 2. Okay, so there's something I can't talk specifically about, but there's an organisation in London at the moment which is working with us right now to make sure on a tourist basis they don't have long queues coming out the building, because they know proactively that even if they have that long queue, this particular entrance is going to be diverted around to somewhere else. So proactively managing those issues and managing the public movement around that. So I now can report to relevant people in a geographical area, in a location context sensitive area, important information about their environment and about how to use their environment. Now I can extend that. So while that's all going on, what I've got is a person walking down the street here. There's a blue blob moving there. So what's happening around here, these people are entering into what we call a geofence. So a geofence is literally a virtual area. That virtual area has then worked out that I'm there using my mobile phone signal, and it's now going to ask me several things. So on a tourism basis, it might lead me to understand, or want me to understand, that the cinema I'm walking past today has a 10% off popcorn offer, which I can use. I didn't know that as a tourist, right? So I'm walking past, I get this offer, brilliant, I might go to the cinema. That's just incentivized me to do that. Equally, as I'm walking past that particular building, I'm walking into this geofence, my lighting example comes into play. So the lights might go up or on. They might go off or down when I exit that particular area, or they might be focused on the number of mobile signals. So again, if the cinema's open, we've got a big crowd of people starting to gather outside the door, the lighting will go up. As they all go into the cinema, the lighting level will drop down. So using geographical and spatial data to be able to understand that in a smart way starts to drive not only reactive behavior, but then we can move forward onto proactive behavior. So as I exit this cinema here and I walk down the street to where I live, believe it or not, we know where you live because your mobile traditionally stays in one place for 6 or 7 hours overnight. So when we know where you live, we can proactively light your route home. We can proactively light up smart signs and work with retail organizations to make offers to encourage you to go into Starbucks or any other coffee organization that might have those offers available to you. What does that mean in a local government context? That you can now start working with those particular retailers and vendors to place them in the right place, to draw tourism, to impact on people's behavior, and to negotiate rates around that. Starbucks want a prime position? Well, let them help you out. Why don't they pay you a little bit to advertise on your smart sign at the time you want to advertise, so that your public is drawn into that particular area at a certain point in time, maybe away from an incident or something like that. Very brief example in Bristol, same thing. They had a Rod Stewart concert, car parking people all put out offers for this Rod Stewart concert all at the same time. Everyone went into Bristol, and traditionally, as Bristol does, everyone got stuck right on the road network because no one worked with the local authority. The local authority are now working with those parking services to actually change the mechanism around which those parking offers are made. So instead of using this car park, use that car park. And to do that, we'll give you a 50% discount on your parking ticket so that we know these parking spaces are available to people who are going to go to the event arena. So again, slightly manipulating people's travel and placement in order to increase the benefit. Okay, so again, a very wider example based on our building as well. So the building elevator was stuck, and rather than just informing the people in the location context, if we can now broaden that out to everybody. So I can actually tell people in advance. Now that might be on my mobile. So as I approach the building, my mobile pings and it tells me, by the way, as you enter the building, don't take lift number 2, take 1, 3, or 4. Or alternatively, I can actually receive a video, an interactive personalized video that's performed in real time every morning. So when I get up, and as I do, I sit and eat my toast and I look at my iPad, it pops up and says, this is your normal daily working environment, right? So you normally go to work, you drop your kids off here, you do this, you do that. Well, let me tell you, there's some roadworks here. If you go that way, it's going to take you 16 minutes longer. You might be better off taking the bus. In actual fact, you know what? If you take the bus today, I'm going to give you a 50% discount on your Oyster card. So we can put all those things through that interactive video for your benefit, for individuals' benefit, for a customer engagement principle, and use those principles to drive behaviors. Now, just to then show you where these places are. So typically this is where we work in these environments as well. So I've already mentioned a few authorities where we work together already as two organisations. Some of the conversations I've had today about joining up and making you aware that actually we're already working with you have been quite valuable. And if we move on from that, we can then see the actual asset types that we typically deliver. The key piece of information is in the pink bit at the bottom of this number 2 here. So it's the proactive, personalized customer integration. Okay, so it's being able to integrate with your customers, being able to educate and communicate with your customers in a personalized way, or a way that appears personalized to them, that helps them then understand and work with you in an engaged way to improve smart city concept. And finally, I kind of hinted at it earlier, there's various portals there to do this. But essentially, we can communicate to those people in many different ways. So we can understand where they are, what they're doing, where the places are, what's happening around them. We can communicate them in dialogue between our two organisations on mobiles, tablets, web, watches, etc. Amazon, we can get that in the home. We're just working on some social content as well for people at the moment. We can do that in interactive, personalised video, WhatsApp and Facebook as well. And for all intents and purposes, it appears like you are talking to me. This is total technology with data. There are no people involved in this set of communication. So we move from where we are today to a truly smart city that's reactive to me. It's communicating with me and allowing me to communicate with that. It's learning through machine learning and AI what it is that I want to do as a member of the public, and it's presenting that back to me as a smart opportunity. Okay, that's it. Thank you.